Hi, my name is Blake Pfeil, and this story is called Down to You. For me, home is the plush sound of my mother humming a Joni Mitchell song. Everything comes and goes, marked by lovers and styles of clothes. Things that you held high and told yourself were true, lost or changing as the days come down to you. Home is blue. My mom and I both love the color blue. Home is our unique, almost psychic-like emotional connectivity, our nearly identical temperaments. We have a bond that is unmatched by anyone in the whole wide world. She is my confidant. I am hers. Now, this makes it sound like we never disagree. We do. A lot about politics, faith, Lady Gaga. But still, there is this mysterious connection that binds us by something bigger than your run-of-the-mill mother-son dynamic. We've worked at our relationship hard, had to undergo major trust battles on both sides of the equation. And what has always kept us alive and thriving is our mutual love and respect for art, music, literacy, education, the world, curiosity. I learned from her what it means to go on an adventure, how to stand up for myself. And recently, after years of trying to understand it, the power of being alone. My childhood home is at the end of a cul-de-sac in Colorado Springs, Colorado, a blue house on a plot of land just over 1/4 of an acre nestled neatly in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. It's pretty sizable, 5 bedrooms, the kind of house that you see at the tail end of a 90s sitcom, opening credits, frozen as the director's name splashes across the screen. We move a few times after, but 8165 Route Court is the place I think of as home. It's where the best hiding places for hide and seek are. The top of my dad's closet, only accessible by climbing up the shelves on my mom's medicine cabinet. Or the best place to try smoking that cigar I've stolen from my friend Kenny's dad, right between the garage and the HVAC unit. Or the best hiding spot to spy on my parents when they're fighting, right between the right side double door and my mom's dresser. I jumpstart awake from a bad dream in the middle of a summer evening in 1993. I hear commotion from another one of my parents' screaming matches. This one starts downstairs, heads up the curved staircase into the main hall, and finally lands into my parents' bedroom, which is right next to mine. It's late, and I lie there, and I listen to their back and forth. I don't know what this one's about. I never do. But it's definitely the worst one I've heard yet. I try to drift back to sleep, but when I can't, there's only one thing I know how to do, and that is spy. I creep out of my room, turn right, walk around the perimeter of the upstairs, and carefully put my ear up to the door. As I press my face against the wood, I can immediately tell they're in the bathroom. Without a squeak, I slip in and take my place in that genius hiding spot between the right side double door and my mom's dresser, and I listen more closely to figure out what's going on. There's a back and forth about something I can't tell what, then bam! And then Mom is crying. I didn't know it at the time, but in that moment, experiencing the problems in my parents' relationship, I realized that there are cracks in the portrait that has been painted for me, or that maybe I painted for myself without realizing it. My husband and I move into the Estro house on Huguenot Street in New Paltz in February of 2018. Nobody knows we've gotten married. And nobody knows because I don't tell them. And I don't tell them because I don't want to be married. But it's really hard to say no to a man who's down on one knee on a privately chartered boat that's literally sailing underneath the Golden Gate Bridge in the middle of the San Francisco Bay while a group of ex-Mormon watches on. And they're drinking. Really, really hard. Especially when you are terrified to be alone and you don't know why. I'm 11 when my mom leaves my dad. I watch her go from being the loving wife to the loving single mother of 3. Whatever the problems were in my parents' marriage, I watch Mom go through hell. Hell from family, hell from friends, hell from people she doesn't even know that well. All because she decided to own up and tell the truth. It's awful, but in a strange way, what I watch my mom go through will be what I fall back on when I decide that I'm going to tell the truth and do the same thing years later. Our home, which used to be filled with screaming and lies, is suddenly filled with peace and reflective silence. My mom begins to change. I see her coming into her own. I watch her become not just a mother, but this fully realized human, and I don't understand it. She seems happier alone. And she starts listening to a lot more Joni Mitchell. I start planning my own escape, and I wait patiently for a catalyst to appear. But it all comes to a screeching halt in February of 2019, when a screaming match results in me being dragged down the hall in a grip which I managed to break out of as I run to grab a bag to leave again for what feels like the billionth time. I feel my husband following me as I break from his grip. And as I reach down to grab the bag, a rush of something I can't explain, rage, fills my veins, bursting through my marrow and out my pores, and I turn around and I shove him so hard that he flies across the room and smashes into a bookshelf opposite us, which comes crashing down on top of him. It's a total breaking point, and I know it won't be long now. And in 3 months later, it's my moment to leave, and in one evening, I'm left without a place to live. When I say my last goodbye to Estro House, after a summer of trying to find a new place to live, it's the hardest goodbye yet. I don't want to leave, but I know I have to. I quietly take my things, and with my 2 friends, John and John, I depart late into the night under the watchful eye of my soon-to-be ex-husband, who sits on the porch at the vacant house across the street next to his new boyfriend. As I'm driving north to my new home just outside of Rosendale, I start to think of home. What is home? Home is still the sound of my mother humming a Joni Mitchell song. The color blue. The love that we always shared. And hopefully always will. And now, home is also what it means to be alone. and for the first time in my life. What does it mean to fill my home with self-care and self-love? My car passes underneath the Rosendale trestle, and I turn on an old familiar song. Everything comes and goes, pleasure moves on too early, and trouble leaves too slow. Just when you think that you finally got it made, bad news comes knocking at your garden gate. Knocking for you, constant stranger. You're a brute, you're an angel, you can crawl, but you can fly too. It's down to you. It all comes down to you.